The Avatar and the gang walks into an ambush laid by murdered Japanese soldiers. During the chase, Sokka loses his boomerang. Sokka says, "So, you have time to save your scrolls, Katara, your staff, Aang, but not time for save my boomerang." Katara answers, "Exactly right. Men should be put down. Ladies, I call you. Humiliate them all. Make sure every man is humiliated, even the policemen. Let them be made up of humiliated men. Total humiliation of men. And if for once someone had got a guard dog to warn them, or had kicked the lemur's ass so I'd notice the chase, then maybe things would be different. So Team Avatar should actually eat the lemurs because he's useless." The Avatar party arrives at the Avatar's village festival. It turns out the Avatar is not respected there because he once killed the tribe leader, and anyway, the Avatar is bloodthirsty scoundrel. The group decides to defend the Avatar's honor in court. The episode itself is about how history is very specific, so-called science, and how it will always be disputed. For example, about Christ. Certain Josephus Flavius mentoring Christ in his records. Many historians pointed to Josephus as proof that Christ existed, but here's the catch. Josephus has a parousia. That is, his religion stance didn't make him someone who would acknowledge Christ as a Lord. In these entries, he didn't write Jesus Christ. He wrote Jesus of Nazareth, who is later called Christ. That's a big difference in terms of what was actually written. Josephus' audience were to Romans. He mentioned Jesus' execution among other mistake decisions made by Pontius Pilate. Later, the text was altered. Josephus originally wrote about Jesus neutrally, and the text was changed from neutrally to laudatory. In other words, Josephus, being a Pharisee, would not suddenly start calling Jesus of Nazareth Jesus Christ. In other words, the Lord. These kinds of small details are constantly changing over time. The farther you go from our present, the more the materials gets reshaped. It becomes hard as hell to figure out what the original author actually wrote and meant. Zuko robs corovans. Then, talking with his uncle, and Uncle Ira Ozayson say, "Even if you catch the Avatar, this won't solve all our problems." Still, Ira Ozayson says you must not give into despair, because in the hardest time, hope is the only thing you can believe in. And he naturally says that Zuko Ozayson should thinking about future as life project, not just emotional hard side. Sokka and Katara study testimonies and physical evidence from Kyushu Island, in the end gathering proof that the Avatar is innocent proved pointless, because the Earth Kingdom tribe has a different legal system. Like that. First I'll tell you how it was, then you'll tell how it was, and I'll decide who's right. Stupid but realistic, I'll give 12 females judge out of 10 for physiological authenticity. The Avatar speaks, his speech goes badly. Then they want to call a certain witness persistent, and the judge shows we have no practice of summoning witness to court. How lovely. So then, where is the so-called justice? From the tribe point of view, that's justice. I said, you said, I decided I'm right. I don't need your witnesses, exhibits, facts, or arguments. I'm right, and fuck off. This person, you should, you should respect his own opinion. He's an individual. But how can you reasonably trust such a court if the judge brings charges while playing the prosecutor at the same time as the judge? Is it normal to think that same judge prosecutor lied in the previous statement? and by poison tree doctrine, if someone levels a series of accretion and even one turns out to be baseless or slanderous, then all the accusations are annulled, because the accuser was sloppy or malicious. No, never heard about this. We find here and we write here. Katara calls the avatar Kyoshi as witness. The custom ritual happens and Kyoshi's spirit arrives to testify to what actually happened. In short, once the leader of the tribe, the Trans Discord, was conqueror named Qin, who unites the mainland of China. He got so arrogant he demanded the avatar kneel to him. Kyoshi activated her decasting and slide off a portion of the continent, which later became Kyoshi Island, 367 years before the trial convened. Qin had a chance to flee while the land was being cut away, but he chose to stand proudly, and he paid with his life. His descendants later twist the curse's effects and facts. You'd think you saw everything, you heard everything, you even felt the breeze of Kyoshi magic on your bodies, and it didn't affect you at all? No, I didn't. The question is, what's so hard about admitting you were wrong? That's why it's hard. And here's why. You'd have to admit you are assholes. And that generation after generation, your great-great-grandfathers lied to you and falsified facts. Qin was a conqueror who suffered for his stupidity, and you present it otherwise. In short, you lie. And you'd have to give up your pride, not pride in general, that's important, but your hubris. Who's dumb enough to do that? Must easily to accuse the avatar, call him idiot, say he understands nothing, he's wrong at all, tell him to get lost. Not enough spiritual backbone. When the Japanese Special Mercenary Force attacked the village, the Chinese tribe immediately forgave the avatar and said, "We forgive you a centuries-long humiliation of our people as long as you save us." What is this episode about? The further back in time you go, the further tangible proofs you'll have about a historical process. Facts get blurred, testimonies become less clear because language changes. At some point people will say, none of this happened, I didn't see it, so it's not true. Even if someone saw it, it's gypsy tricks. Even if there was a live broadcast to the whole planet, in even a divine appearance, it's all a global circus. Even if it wasn't circus, and there is evidence it's a neutral network recording. Even if you could come and talk to God in person, it's tourist rip-off like Disneyland. In short, a hardened cynic will always find an argument to deny. He'll cling to it until death rather than admit his own wrongness. His ego. Admitting you were wrong is like smearing yourself in shit and living in it forever. An unthinkable crime against yourself. Better to think and not admit your shit yourself, rather than wash up afterwards. I'll shit myself, but I won't submit. Hardened cynics are like that, so there are no point in trying to prove anything to them. This works both ways. A hardened atheist will seek arguments for atheism everywhere. A hardened believer will seek arguments for faith everywhere. It's human nature. Homo sapiens software.